And I'm so glad, I am so glad that the good old Lord made me a thinker. Because I was just thinking, amnesty came out in 1987. 1987, that's when amnesty came out. And people were to have, have their green cards or, the start of it. But here's one thing. How is it that immigrants are owning homes? How is it that they're owning homes, and how are we auditing that? Because think about it. There's so many immigrants and they're living like a lot to a family. That's why they're surviving. And how is it that an immigrant can own a house and he's an immigrant? In other words, undocumented. Undocumented people owning houses. I don't get it. I'm not understanding that one. And something needs to be done about it. And they need to be audited. Think about it. You have undocumented immigrants that should have got their documentations in 1987 when amnesty came. So if they've been here for a long time, since the 60s, 70s, or whatever, they should have been documented. And if they are not documented, they should lose their home. And that's how I would do it, because they're not documented and they're hiding. That means they're hiding, and half of them are using somebody else's name. So maybe a lot of the missing people are the people, maybe they stole their identity somehow in means of killing them. And that's how I see it. And I know people think I'm a little out there, but hey, don't kill the prophet, okay? I just sent that, but it's just, I've seen so many people who are undocumented, but they're here. Their parents are here. Maybe they left them in Mexico or in their country, but we have a lot of them here, and what are we doing about it? Why are they still standing on corners trying to get painting jobs? And they're the undocumented. So the Americans, if they can stand on the corner, the Americans can go out there, and the guys that just are American men that come from prison can go stand on a corner and get a job too. And maybe that's what you ought to do, is go stand on their corners. Everybody that has, and hang out the way they do and drink all day, because that's what they do. All they do is drink and do drugs in their little corners over there, waiting for someone. And guess what? Nobody's ever picking them up. They're the same people every day, just hanging out on a corner. And it seems like a lot of maybe contractors don't want to hire them because of the COVID. And think about it, these are the ones that don't go to the doctors. And it's not just the COVID shot. They're not they don't have immunization shots. And this is what we're dealing with. And so, coming from the medical field, I just think, and it's gone beyond what we are. They're passing. In other words, they're passing by. Our system is passing the look of this, and we have a lot of problems. And they're making, the ones that are undocumented are making it really hard for the other people, because they're the ones that are damaging property. They've caused a lot of property damage. It's like they're spotting in the day and stealing at night, or both, and it's just bad. I'm really, it's just, you just got to go in the right way. If you want to come in, you got to be in your country and you got to apply, just like we would have to. And if we just snuck in somebody else's country, they'd probably kill us, and it's the truth. It's it's a crying shame that we don't even have. And people say, oh, have a voice. There's no voice. Because it's unheard. It's still here, and we still have undocumented people here doing nothing but preying on people, preying on women, and mostly women. walking by and, doing things and throwing, trash and dirt, and because you're angry because you don't have your, status to stay here, but you're here. They've managed to survive, and that's because our country just allows them to, and so, what's being done about that? I mean, think about it, people. We have a lot of undocumented people here, and they're the ones that are there, the third world, underground, and they're hating on us. Even the, ones that are struggling. And so, it's not our fault. If I would have went to, another country or foreign country, I would probably be treated the same. Nobody would want to hire me. I don't speak the language. I wasn't prepared. I have no family there, and so on. But, it's getting out of control. And, our city is too small to have such corruption here. Way too small to continuously have corruption, and for neighbors to be allowed to, um, be foul, especially men. The men are very foul, and there's not one that's desirable, even to an old lady. I'm sorry, they're very undesirable and very foul, and they treat women really bad, and you can see why we have so many single women. And it's just, I'm sorry, I blame the men, because most of the men, but because look at them. I mean, if you get every single woman together with her kids, that's what you would have to do to really see. And then get all the men, the fathers, and put all the missing fathers way in the back so you can see hiding. And then all the good guys on the side. There's very few good guys. There's none. And it's very sad. It's a very sad situation. And, there's a lot of good foreigners. I grew up I lived for a long time, about 27 years, in an Asian community. And I'm going to tell you, they mind their own business. They don't go out looking at your car in the middle of the night, walking by your cars. They work real hard. They're really smart, very courteous. And I'm sorry, they are. They're the most courteous people that you can ever meet, are the Asian people. A lot of the Asian people. If you come across some that are not, but I lived in the community, and they were the nicest people. And they saw value in everyone. And it's so sad that people look at people, those races like that, because my own race, mind you, has been so foul to us, and it's almost like they're aliens. They've been alienated, and they're foreign. It's like foreign. Like foreigners came, and it's no longer. My grandparents came here almost 100 years ago. You know, it's jealousy. It's very jealousy. Sorry, you may not like us, but we were here first for a lot of people, and so it's not about pushing people out. It's about letting people live until their end of their time, and be God the one that takes them, not another person. Live out your life, and live. Everyone's going to have one, a chance to live their full 100 years. Everyone has 100-year reign, the fourth generation. And it's so sad that people don't see that, and everyone's lost. They're lost to the generations. We're supposed to be living, each one of us, to the fourth generation, starting with your parents, all the way to the fourth, and then it ends. There's no more. You are no more after that. And we're almost to the no more. And people need to let God do work in each person so that they can finish the race. And that's why we have a lot of protection. And I hope that it's, here in our communities, you know, and it's just really sad, that we have, bad manner people, and it just, it makes me want to do nothing with anybody. They have no skills. I'm very, skilled at a lot of things, um and gifts, and my gift isn't, it's everything from planting, sewing, crafting, and I can't get in tune with anyone because everyone's just too busy trying to slice someone's, uh, reputation. And I'm better than you. It's not about that. It's about you need to finish the race, and the race is teaching your children to be creative and to work and to be skillful, to, be kind. And a lot of bullying is gone too far. And that's, people explode. Even good people explode when people are bullying, and the bullying has to stop. And, it's just really sad because what that shows is a lack of anything. You're just lacking everything. Like you miss something. Like, the Bible's in chronicle order, and so is life. And so when you skip ahead and you try to be, kill the prophet, you're doomed for something not right because you missed something. And so, and you can't keep missing things. You can't keep missing out in life. And it's just really sad that the kids are missing a lot. And I see these kids now, they're not even as creative as we were, growing up, because we were manual. And now, not only manual, um, those of us that have come this far, and I thank my Lord and Savior for that, and may He be blessed always. But, I've come this far and I see nothing. Nothing. It's just, I mean, look at it. Everywhere you turn, nobody's happy. You're not happy for what you have. And I've been rich. I've been poor when I was a kid. I've been rich. I've been poor. And I've been rich. And I can say it. And I'm lacking nothing. I'm nothing am I lacking, because not even a friendship of somebody, is more important to me than what God has for me. And, it's just, it's kill the prophet because they know more than you. Kill the prophet because they're better than you. Kill the prophet because they're, they have overall, and you only have one thing, and or two things, and this prophet's ahead. Well, the prophet's a lot older than you, possibly, and the prophet's been there and been ahead of you, way ahead of you, and they're not trying to get ahead of you because they're trying to beat you. We're not, older people are not in competition with any young person. And I know my place with God, and that's what makes me more special than a lot of people, because I don't sit and see what you have. I was young once. Just like I said, I was poor, I was rich, I was poor, and I was rich, and I was poor again. Doesn't mean that I have no value, because I have more value even now. And when you see somebody all gray, what that means is you have more wisdom and knowledge. And wisdom and knowledge is through trial and error. And that's all that is. And when people try to be in competition, it's not about your hair. God gave you every hair that you have. God gave you every vessel you have. God gave you everything in your body that you have. And it started with Adam and Eve, and you got to go back to Genesis to really understand and go through it. And but there's no understanding. People are they're just spaced out. They're stuck in a space, and I mean, Jesus, you know, I've seen people just about on every drug that you can imagine. Growing up when I was little, and that and it's just it's the drug that's here now is a wipeout. It's wiping you out. It's just called Wipeout. That song, Wipeout. You just wipe out, and it's so sad that people can't live right and respect one another and just mind your own business. And I moved away from my area, from my city, because it was just people were just up in your business all the time. When I got to a better community, and I miss that community, it's not there anymore. It'll never be. We'll never have that community back again, because there's so much, people are just so foul and hatred, have so much hatred, wicked, controlling, and their eyes are green with envy, so green with envy. And it's just so sad because nobody, you saw what COVID did. It wiped everybody out. Why be envious? Because that's what God will give you. Those people had everything, probably. Beautiful homes, beautiful, a lifestyle, jobs, and everything. And look at them. And that could happen to us too. So that taught me a lot. COVID really hit home for me. And then all these mass shootings and all this stuff with these poor little kids. And it's crazy people doing it. People gone mad. And, it needs to stop. And people need to get right with God. And, or people are going to self-destruct. And in the end, the good is going to win over the evil, because people have kids and people don't want that. And if you're ones that have kids and are teaching your kids to go out and do that, because we don't teach our kids that. We don't. And we've had so many people always throughout our life, because we came from a large family, that people would come to our fence, our door, and we're not even bothering them. So, I would like to get my mom out of here. I really would, because I don't like it here for her anymore. I just don't. I would like to get her out of here and, just get somewhere else. This community is, they can have themselves, because, I'm ready to retire anyways, pretty soon. I don't care. There's always ways to make extra money, and I'm not going to sit here and worry about my neighbor, or hey, that girl sits in that car, but I don't talk to no one. And when I do talk to somebody, it's none of nobody's business. I'm not talking to your friends or anybody, or snickering by your house. I've walked these streets when I lived here and roller skated on these streets forever. And I don't see none of your wives roller skating past here. I roller skated till 2012, but I used to roller skate all the way to the beach from where I lived in Gardena. I roller skate all the way to the beach, all the way out to Santa Monica, Venice, on skates, from street skating from here. And I don't see nobody else's wife doing that. So don't laugh at me, because everybody here knows I was skating. And I was doing something with myself, and I worked too. I used to come home from work in the medical field, and hop on my skates and ride from Gardena all the way out here to to see my mother on skates. I don't see none of your wives doing that. And I don't make fun of them. I'm not making fun of your wife going by, or none of my friends are out here drunk laughing at you guys. And they're wicked. These people, they have no respect. And they act like little kids. Big men. Big old men running by trying to punk women. And it's sad. It's sad, and it needs to stop. And our cities need to help and get rid of that, because they're tormenting. What they're doing is trying to torment you, and then they walk up to your car like they're gonna jump in with you right up to your window. No respect. And I don't like that. I'm not gonna. You walk up my window, most likely, you're only gonna get $1.50. You don't walk up people's windows like that. We don't know if you're trying to do something. I mean, homeless people have harmed people, and they have stabbed people getting close range. We don't want you in close range. Just because COVID is over doesn't mean we don't want that 6 feet back. And that means when I'm sitting, we're sitting in our cars, hey, we're women. And then if they're doing that to an old lady, I can imagine what they're doing. And then you got these young kids wanting to kill old people. We don't want you near us. Don't come here. And I'm sorry, but I have a voice, and this is my voice. Stay away from from people, and stop begging. We're not going to your camps or anywhere around you, or to your house, and we're not going anywhere. And I hope that society sees that. We don't want nothing to do with you. And evil can stay on its side, because, that means that somebody has to do something about you, and you guys need to be very careful trying to hurt people and do things, and especially crawl around, and getting too close, and then, trying to sucker punch people and doing things like that. That's, that's showing that you have mental illness or something. You're mentally ill, and maybe our police and our social workers need to get together and figure out how we can stop that, and so you can't keep tormenting people, because, we're good citizens, and you're causing good citizens to be foul, and then wanting to sue us. And it's you, it's constantly you. And tormenting people walking by their house, and throwing things in their yards, and causing people that are already, and then messing with people that are disabled, messing with people that have mental illness, and messing with people that can't barely walk, and that's sad. That's sad that you have to do that, because nobody's going by your house and doing that. And you guys are very foul. And half of you are immigrant. You're undocumented, and living in homes, and buying homes, or own them already, and somehow are avoiding, amnesty. And so I think the police need to go after that more, and the undocumented, and fingerprint them. They need to be fingerprinted. Half of these, immigrants, you need to carry a fingerprint scan, and scan them right there, and you'll know. You scan them and see if they're that person's fingerprint that had that license years ago. You compare the license from the time it opened, the fingerprints. So, I don't know. And it's not that I'm discriminating, because my grandparents were from Mexico, but I'm going to tell you, they weren't like that. They were different. They were farm workers. Our grandparents came from nowhere. And they were farm workers. There was no cars for them. There was hardly anything for them. And we came from, our grandparents came from Mexico, living in tents. And they didn't play like that. They were really needing to support their families. And that's all they cared about. And I see people just throwing their kids out or not training them from the time they're little. You have to train them from the time they're babies. And you can tell you're training your kids to be pharaohs. And they're not fitting in with other people. And it's causing other people to feel ill and distant from the world. And that's what it does. And God tells us that we're supposed to be loving. How can we be loving when somebody's tormenting us? God does say don't have, he says to love thy neighbor, but let's not forget the whole Bible. He also says have nothing to do with the unfruitful. So when you've been unfruitful way too many times to me or to my neighbors or something, then I have a voice. And God says to expose them. Let's finish the Bible. People always say, oh, you got to love your neighbor. Let me slap you. Let me keep slapping you. Let me keep doing this. Let me keep stealing from you. And this is what I'm talking about. But he also says don't have anything to do with the unfruitful, but we're supposed to still pray and still love our neighbors and ask God to forgive us for the hatred we've had in our hearts because somebody has pushed us to that. But God also says, let's finish the Bible and let's keep going around. But God also says that have nothing to do with the unfruitful. But God also says to dust your feet when you're unwanted. So when you keep doing something to somebody, they're unwanted. There it goes. There you have it right there. And you got to stick with the Bible because it's not just, part of it. It's not just part of it. It's the whole thing, And right now we're past the immature stage. And we don't have a lot of time because people are dying. And we're going to come into more famine according to our Bible. And people are lost. And so the lost ones, you need to go with your own friends and figure it out. And the ones that, want to keep praying and doing good, and just trying to finish the race, need to finish that race and move everybody else to the side. And just like God says, I will separate the wheat from the chaff, and I'll keep finishing the Bible for you. And that's what we're going to do. And that means to separate the wheat from the chaff. That means friends. You got to cut friends off. Sometimes you got to cut families off. Friends, families, whatever it takes, whatever's hurting you. And so that's where we're at. And, I don't bother anybody. I don't ask you for anything. And if I do, I pay back. And my family, people are always looking for us. We're not looking for you. We don't care about you. Okay? Just like you don't care about us, we don't care. And I don't care, and we would like rest. Just like you go home and you rest. And we don't walk by your house or drive by your house. And we would like rest too. Here, nobody wants to, we don't care about you. You're that important that we're not driving by your house. But I'm so important that you got to drive by. That's really sad. And some people call themselves producers, but they can't produce anything but driving by someone's house and doing something stupid because because they don't have anything better to do. And it's not even, oh no, we're commanded to do this and commanded. It's none of that. It's, you're stuck on 2 years old. And that's how I look at it. You're stuck on 2 years old. That's your social skill. When you have to go by somebody's house and or see what they're doing and you don't like them, your social skills is wrong, and you're either a stalker, you're a murderer, or you're something, you have murder in your heart for someone that don't even know you and don't care to know you, and is never going to care to know you because you're not part of God and my destination with him. And there's so many people that don't understand the destination of God. So let me tell you all something. Don't call a minister to your funerals if you're going to be evil and then come on. It's not going to work. You're not going to heaven. Okay, none of your prayers are going to be heard. And bottom line, they're not. That's like, that's evil. That's evil, thinking. To sit here and do evil and say, oh, I love my mom, and then have a cross and then do all kinds of things and then do something evil to somebody else's family, or, that it's evil. Okay, it's over. We're all older, we're mature, and people need to act mature. And I don't need the medical from nurses like down the street. That makes me afraid to go to a hospital, afraid to put my mother in one if she ever had to go. I don't want to be around people like that. And I know people too well. And I was that little girl that sat back and watched all the evil. Okay? And so you're not going to fool me. And I don't want you near me. I don't want, your company. And I'm just here like everybody else, have to make a living, okay? Just because my kids are grown and gone. And I took care of my kids, okay? Nobody did for me. Nobody took care of my kids. We took care of our kids. And, my mother and his mother didn't take care of our kids at all. And we had to pay babysitters, daycare centers. And we didn't rely on our parents, okay? We couldn't just dump our kids on our parents. They had to work too. Life was still hard for everyone. And we understood. And so when we had kids, we made sure that we had to tough it out and get them through it. My kids, I was the breadwinner. I was the breadwinner of providing their health insurance, and they had it until they didn't want to go to school anymore. They wanted to go to work. You have to be full-time in school to receive it after you're 18. And I was the breadwinner. And I worked. And I tried with my kids, everything that I could. And it's up to them. So all the people you see out here, if you weren't thrown out at 2 years old or 3 years old and tossed around in foster homes and things like that, I get it. I worked in the medical field. And just because I worked in certain fields doesn't mean that I worked with doctors, and a lot of them. And I have a lot of more knowledge than people think. And I think more than I speak. And I'm internal. I go from inside and I flow out. That's how I work. And that's how God has created me. My spirit is from inner to out. It's not from the out appearance to in. And this is why I have a lot of good skills. Because I'm not a talker. I'm a doer. Okay, I don't talk about it and sit here and tell my girlfriends everything. Hey, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go to next door. And I'm going to, I'm going to make this. I don't have time to talk to people. That's the energy that I have to go to work in. Or that's the energy that I have to, do my creative side. And so I don't have time to talk to people. And I don't have time to invade people's homes and look through all their stuff for the third time. Okay? And life's coming for you. You guys all think that criminals are going to get away with everything. You're just showing me who you are. That's all you're doing, is showing me who you are. And so, I have a right to say what I want to say, but my brother just died, and I'm sorry that you guys don't know who God is, and we haven't even gone through the holy days, and may God not be so kind to any of you for doing what you're doing, and especially during holy times. And these are people that have kids, and I see them go to church on certain days, and it ain't even the holy days. It's when they want to go. Their days. And so I go, I'm trying to go by the holy days, okay? Because that's what God taught me, and so when you're interfering with someone's holy days, it's wrong. You're very wrong. You're very wrong to interfere while God's here walking with me and talking with me. And, when somebody dies, it's not over. It's never going to be over. And so we have to respect, and it's a turnoff. You guys are all turnoffs. Your games and your wicked ways, and, it's just wicked. It's very wicked. It's very, very wicked, and people need to grow up and move on. I don't care about politics. I'm not into that. I'm into God, and I'm into what He says, what my Bible says. Like I said, don't send your mom a rosary or hands in prayer unless it's the whole Bible. You're reading the whole thing. Most people think they're prophets. They're not. Police are more prophets than other people. Priests are more prophets. And that's what a prophet is. A prophet is a very strong person that follows the rules and does things. And there's a lot of corrupted people everywhere. And every job that you go to, every job, I don't care what kind of job it is, you got to look for corruption. And so, with that said, I always turn and look who I check people. I'm very quiet. I don't say anything, and I'm cool, and I'll talk to you, but your ways are gonna show me if I can trust you or not. And I usually don't trust anyone anyways, and I never ask for company. I don't want anybody's company. You don't need to stop by and say hi unless you're family and you're coming to see me, or a good old friend is really true. Other than that, I don't want nothing to do with no one. I don't care. I've always been this way, and I've had to be this way. And I don't care for anybody's company. I'm not lonely. Okay, let's just put it that way. I could sit here, I could be the last person on earth, and I still ain't gonna get lonely. Because I know how to plant. I know how to do things that people don't even want to try. All they want to do is stalk you. Okay, so the stalking and all that it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing to do because, you know, people are getting caught, and you're gonna keep getting caught. And if I can help catch you, I will. And if you keep coming near me, you're just bait. Okay, that's all you are, is bait, and you need to get out of here. And like I said, my brother died, so either you killed my brother, you set my brother up to be killed, that's what I'm going to start thinking, okay? Or you're trying to kill me. So when you start throwing rocks and doing things, you got murder in your heart, hatred, and with all the killings and murders that are going on, I'm going to look at you as a suspect. And I'm going to video everything. and take pictures, and you guys can keep covering your face because it's not going to help you. And I hope that all the criminals out there get caught. I hope you get caught because you're not safe here for anybody's kids. And there's kids here, and believe it or not, I do care about kids. All kids, everybody's kids. And if you don't care about your own kids, look what's happening in other states to children. And so when you can't help your community stay safe, I want them to catch you, because our kids have to live a long way. Like I told you, the 100-year. Everyone goes through that 100-year, and the fourth generation is no more. Understand that. You're living that. You got to carry your generation that long. Everyone. So if you cop out, that's because you copped out. You didn't want to finish the race with your family, or and abandoning your families. Guys going to jail, leaving their families for a long time, that's not cool. That's not the finishing the race with God. And making your wives suffer with children out here while you're, I get it, you're making a mistake. You made a mistake, but that's, especially little kids. I'm talking about when you take off and you have kids young and you don't even help raise your kids. But yet you want to pass by somebody's house and do something when you got mess on your own back. And everybody's got mess on their back. So everybody needs to jump on Jesus. And like that woman with the 12-year, she bled for 12 years. You need to touch his cloak and have mercy, because God is coming. And he is coming, and he is causing plagues. And I believe that we are in the time of Pharaoh. And so when you're coming at us and circling around and sneaking in and out and doing things and, being sneaky about it at night, in the day, creeping around people's houses, their cars, and all that stuff, that's not, that's telling me that you're a criminal. And people need to stop that. We don't want criminals around, because all you're doing is you're going to rape, kill, rob, steal, or do something. And people work hard, and bike thieves. Let me just tell you, those are kids that have to, teenagers probably, or kids that's the only thing they have. The only thing they have in life to get them somewhere. And you're going to go take a bike from someone. That's horrible. Horrible that you're stealing from a child. A kid's bike. I've had neighbors come out on little kids' bikes. Hey, my kid's bike was stolen. I mean, the kid's like 7, 8 years old. I mean, come on. Come on, I get it, but, there's a lot of outreaches that'll help you if you call them and say, hey, my kid really needs a bike. I feel like stealing one. Be honest. And people are just foul, and it's so sad. It's so sad that people are trying to, come at other people and, try to regulate things when their lives need regulating. And you need to regulate your own lives before you try to regulate somebody else's life. Because I never asked you for anything. You didn't support my children. Okay, I did. Okay, I never asked you for nothing. My kids always had a house. And a nice one. And very clean. And very orderly. My home was orderly. And we didn't have a lot of junk all over the place and nowhere. And there wasn't people all over the house and people in and out of my house. No. I worked and I had 3 children and I had to go to sleep at a certain time and wake up at a certain time. Kids are a long haul. So in case you missed the long haul statement, long haul means it's a long haul with your children. So if you start messing up while your kids are little, you're not gonna reach that long haul. That's what it is. It is what it is, and there's no sugarcoating it. And I'm not going to use fancy words. I can, but I'm not going to use fancy words because it's just going to be blunt and straight. You know, a lot of people are just doing foul play, you know, and I come from a time when the town, when at nighttime the town slept. The town slept. And stores weren't open all night long, and you didn't have all this stuff. Stores were closed no later than 10 o'clock at night. And that was not until the 70s. These towns were very quiet when we were growing up. And you didn't see people riding bikes all night long and creeping around, you know, all night. You didn't see that. And we know what you're doing. We know what you're doing, you know, and you need to have something better to do with yourself than go around and sit there and get drunk, and especially two, 3 doors down. And then start throwing rocks when nobody's even talking to you. Because you don't like somebody. You must not like your wife either because you're outside with 3 other guys. So I'm beginning to wonder, maybe, you know, maybe guys nowadays are a little funny. Maybe they want a wife just for the, you know, just for their image. And so the community think they're good, but maybe deep down, you know, because you're always with your buddies. I mean, when you're with a guy all the time, and then you got a guy roommate, and you're trying to get up on a girl, but won't get rid of the roommate. And even if you did, the girl ain't going to stay with you because you wouldn't have had a roommate in the first place if you were a real man. You know, it's not like you live at home with your parents or something. That's a different thing. But when you start living with roommates and start trying to date girls with kids, and you can barely even afford your rent yourself, and then try to date a girl with 2, 3 kids, and you know you ain't going to do nothing for her. I mean, as it is, all you do is keep her out all night, and you don't send no milk home. You don't send a gift. You don't pay the rent. You're not paying the bills when they're out, when she's telling you all that. Oh, no, but be my girlfriend. You know, all that is foul. And then we got men sneaking in the back door trying to be with our girls and leaving them pregnant. We never even met them until after the kid was born or when they were pregnant. And that's foul. And then not giving them child support and things like that. That's really foul that men come sneak in the back door. And they don't even meet the parents. Because they don't want them to know what they really are. And that's why these men are like that. And that's why our daughters are falling through the cracks. And no, I'm not very pleased with men because I see the way they act. And I see the way they treat me. And they don't even know me. I don't even know you like that, and I don't want to know you. You don't like my art? Too bad. It is what it is. I started a long time ago, probably way before you did. So if you don't like my artwork, that's too bad. The apps do. They like me using them, okay? And it's good for them to show what it's all about. And if you're not an art person, stop hating, because I've been doing art, Photoshop, for a long time. Okay, and I used to work with JIT programs, the real ones that you could barely use. I mean, they weren't like the ones now. Those ones put it together for you. These ones you had to do manually. I started with manual art programs. You had to cut, paste, bring in, um, lasso, and you had to do everything. And these programs, you have different apps that do it for you. And so it's really not that hard. It's only knowing your colors and messing with certain things and certain programs. You just kind of have to know what you're doing. And and I've been a long time, since 2006. I started doing programs. So I can pick up any program like that and use it. And it's funny, a lot of old people my age can't even work anything, but I've been working processors, and I was a typist, and I took it typing clerk 1 and 2, and I worked in the medical field, and I have a medical billing license. I'm not dumb. I'm not a dumb person. And I know medical program. I learned medical programs. There's not a program I couldn't pick up and try to learn. And it's because I apply myself. And I don't let nothing stop me. I keep going. And no matter what's going on around me, nobody's going to stop me from doing my art, recreation. That's what it's called. It's recreation. It's really recreating a photo. And that's what I call it, recreation. And so, because I can't help it if you don't know how to work a computer and you're jealous. I can't help it because you hire me and you find out that I really had skills. I can't help that. You can never take away what I learned. You can never take that from me. It's already recorded. I already work for doctors. I already work for, as administrator for companies. And I worked for a high class company. I didn't work, and they were owned. They weren't big corporation. We did everything. A small little corporation does everything. You do everything. You are that 911. You have to know everything. All the filing system, all the computer system, everything. You have to know everything. We do it all. And that's what put me ahead of a lot of people, because I started a long time ago when it was manual. And if you don't learn manual, the computer is just too easy. And if they took the computer away, you wouldn't know how to do anything. And so I'm a gardener. I love to garden. I have a green thumb. I can plant from seed and watch it grow. And so, I'm just a little too busy in mind and thought than most of you want to know. And I have other things going on, and it's not you. Okay? So if I walk by you and seem like, I was non-interested, I am non-interested. I don't care. And one thing I don't like is people that get in your way and try to stop you from completing any task. And that's not acceptable for me. Nobody's going to stop me from tasks. And it is what it is. Nobody's going to stop me from making my task. And, I don't have little ones anymore. So, everybody seems like they're fine. They got everything under control. Well, you know what? This is my exit. And it's time to go. And it's time to leave those behind that want to be left behind. And because, I don't bow down. I'm not going to bow down, and nobody's going to take me and take my things and take my, credentials. and just throw them out the window, because you can't. You'll never be able to do that. And so, with that said, say la vie, have a good time, but, give people peace and step back. You don't need to be stepping on people's toes, because, you look like you need to be in a mental institution when you do that. It's mentally not good for you to stand in someone's face, because now I have to file a complaint, or I have to, talk to somebody about it. I'm not interested in you. I don't care. I don't care who you are, what you do. Do it somewhere else. And I hope that every evil person, whether you're in high power or low power, wherever I go, is brought low. Because if it's somebody in high power doing something and somebody in low power, then God needs to intervene, because you need help. When you can walk by somebody just sitting there minding their own business and there's no help for my age, and everybody else is getting help, and if you're not getting help, that's because you're either wanted, or you're an undocumented immigrant that needs to go somewhere else. And I'm not that person. I can't save you. I can't even save my own self. Jesus Christ does that for you. And like I tell people, I'm my own individual. I'm very strong-minded. And you never paid my bills. You never got up every morning, went to work for me and my children. I did. And people are entitled. You guys are entitled to live the way you want to live, but don't hound parents about what you did wrong. It's not our fault that you guys are out there, acting like you don't know how to act. Plain and simple, you don't know how to act. And, it's immature, and you wonder why people don't want nothing to do with you. Because it's you don't know how to act. And, everyone needs to be watched. And, whether you're an employer or, family, we're going to watch over ours. And I'm going to open my eyes and see around me. If I see my family doing something wrong, I'm going to be freaking on their ass. Especially if I have to live around it, And I'm not going to stand by and watch people be evil to their families, friends, or anything. That's not me. I don't do that. You wouldn't like it if I saw somebody doing something to your things and didn't say anything. You wouldn't like it. And that's your problem. That's not my problem, and, I'm an old lady, okay? And so when I see 3 dudes messing with an old lady, that's telling me that those guys something's sick. Or who sent you? Who's sending you to do that? And, you need to check yourself. Who's sending you? And if it's somebody in high power sending you, then may God bring that high power low and very low. And, I just pray for people like that, because it does anger you. And I'm allowed to speak out and talk, and I'm not going to be quiet anymore about it. I'm not going to sit here and watch people circle around me and encircle me, because you're not holding me captive to you. You're not paying my rent. You're not buying anything for me. You don't buy my food. You don't do anything for me. And possibly all you want to do is steal. And so I don't want you around me. Bottom line. Go circle around somebody else's mother. Your own, for that matter of fact. Go to your own house and go around your mother. Okay? And I don't want to sound rude. And because I do respect the dead. But if she's dead, go circle around her graveyard. and get your life on somewhere else. I don't want to sound rude, but that's something my grandpa would have said. From 18 something, he would have told you. Okay? So, nobody wants to know you. I don't want to kick it with you. You don't need to freaking babysit me. I don't need a babysitter, and you're definitely not my babysitter. None of you are my babysitters, okay? None of you. Because if you were my babysitter, I would be having 3 meals a day, and I would be under a roof, okay? And I don't need a babysitter, okay? And what I need is peace and be left alone and not be tormented by you and your evil friends who are circling around. And if you're grown-ups, old people doing that, then something is really wrong with you. And you've been going on life way too long without being mentally evaluated, because that's mental when you have to go around somebody. And I'm not your mother. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your psychiatrist. I got my own problems, and I deal with my own problems on my own. Okay, and this is not for my family. It's for other people that just think they can run around. And then if they are my family and they are doing something evil, then it is to you. And it's just very foul. Too small of a town to be so foul, and not care about anybody. But I don't care. Just back off and do your own thing. And that's probably why you can't get up in life, because you're so busy circling around people's houses that you spent just that time when you could have got stuff done. You could have got stuff done. But no, you got to go somebody else and go see what they're doing over there, and now your stuff isn't done. And that's what it's all about. And I'm not rescuing anybody anymore, just like nobody's rescuing me. Okay, and that's the bottom line. And nobody's rescuing me, but Jesus. And I would suggest that everybody get to Jesus, because that's the only one that can rescue you. And I pray for everyone, because I see how evil it is, and I don't think people are really praying. They're not praying. Nobody's praying. Who's praying? Because if we were praying, we wouldn't have a city like this. So everybody's armor is down, and they want to keep it down. But I'm not playing anymore. I don't care who you are, high or low. You don't own me. You don't own my votes. You don't own my thoughts. You don't own nothing here. You're not my mother. You're not my father. I wasn't birthed to you. It was through God. And like God says, when your mother and father abandon you, I will be with you. And He is. He is. He is the one that's with me, not you. Because if you were with me, you wouldn't be treating me like that, and you wouldn't be throwing rocks at me, and you wouldn't be stealing all my things, and you wouldn't be... So basically, it's finding a good person, even one that's going to go to heaven, is like finding a needle in a haystack. And many will not make it, and even our Bible says it. Many will not make it to heaven because of their evilness. And this world is evil. And it's so sad that people are not regarding children. They're not regarding themselves. And this generation is so angry with their parents that are ahead of them, that are old and already retired. They're jealous of the retirement coming, the retirement, because they're too lazy. This is the lazy generation. Okay? Kids that are hating on their parents and trying to take their Social Security checks from them. This is the lazy generation. This is what this is. This is a lazy generation. Kids pulling their parents down, holding them back, and men Having kids sneaking in the back door because they're evil and wicked and they're afraid the mothers are going to see them and go, hey, that person's wicked and evil. And it's very sad. It's very sad that you snuck in the back door and then abandoned our daughters and gave them nothing, especially ones that are millionaires and sue the cities and get 2.5 million and can't even support their own child, and have another man pay for your child support. That's really sad. You're really low, and it is low. The whole thing is just low, and you don't wait to help your children. You don't wait. You don't wait, and that's okay, because all good things come to an end, and someday, 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 our families will see. They'll see how sad they are and the bad decisions they made, and all because you can't walk alone and be strong. So you're gonna put your lives around people and surround them around people who are no good for you, and they think they're good in their own mind. They think they're good for you, but why is it that parents are always rescuing their kids and their kids won't rescue them? Bad generation. Very bad generation. It's seems like Charles Manson children's. That's what you remind me of. Charles Manson. Very sad. But anyways, I had to say that. It's just, it's unbelievable. This is just unbelievable. God have mercy. My Lord, have mercy on this world and the hearts of the people. Have mercy, Lord, because the adulterers, slanderers, liars, and cheaters and thieves, Lord, have mercy. Have mercy, because they have no regard and they care not. They care not for what they do. And it's very disappointing. Very disappointing.